guys, how's it going? It's Al. DraftKings Week 9 is going to kick off in just a couple of days, and I have the top stacks of the weekend for you. I have some stacks. There's quarterbacks and wide receivers playing, and I can show them to you, but they're not very good, and it's kind of ugly. But we're going to talk about them, and we're going to see if we can find a way to try and get a stack that's going to help us win a tournament. Hell, there's probably like 8 puke stacks on this slate. It's really bad, but I've done the work and I've tried to come up with 5 of them that I think have access to high ceilings, consolidated target market shares, and everything else. The cheat sheet comes out on Friday afternoon. If you wanted to get that, become a channel member here on YouTube. It's $5 a month. Smizzle.tv/join, and then jump in the Discord, smizzle.tv/discord. Thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 9 Smiz Gang Listener League is posted. It is 4,000 people. It is $10 to enter. It is 3 max, and it is absolutely no rake. It's the best tournament that exists on DraftKings, but it is not available in the DraftKings lobby. You have to go through my link tree at smizzle.tv/links. If you wanted to find the link to the Listener League, it also has the links to my Instagram, Discord, everything else, the Fantasy Football channel, where I will shout out the top 10 finishers in the Listener League every single Monday. So make sure that you head over to smizzle.tv/links and join the Listener League today. The number 1 stack on the week is our cover boy that we talked about, the highest team total, the highest overall total of all the games on this slate. Cowboys Eagles has a total of 46.5, and that's the highest one. We have a bunch of bye weeks. We have 2 great teams playing over in Frankfurt, the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Totals 51 in that game. Bills and Bengals play on Sunday night. Totals 48.5 in that game. And the Chargers are also good. They play on Monday night. So this is what we're left with. The problem is not Jalen Hurts. Problem's not Jalen Hurts or his scoring ability. 31 fantasy points, 25, 22, 31, 27. Just great things every week except for week 1 against New England, which I can't for the life of me understand why. Should I double stack Jalen Hurts because he runs the ball a lot? Yeah, you probably should, because the days that he has really, really big days, he is dragging receivers along with him. 28 completions, 25 completions, 25 completions, multiple touchdown passes, 4 touchdown passes. His best games come in the games where they are pushed and have to stay competitive late in the game. He also gives you upside with his legs, floor with rushing yards, upside with touchdowns, and everything else that goes along with it. Well, if there's one guy that you could pair him with, if you wanted to go with the alpha stack, A.J. Brown is averaging 117 yards receiving every single game this year. He has had over 125 yards in every game since week 2, where he had 29, which is blowing the curve. Week 2 against Minnesota was like the Russian judge, where he's averaging 117 on the year, but had a low of 29 in that game. That was the game that Devontae Smith got behind that Minnesota defense a whole lot. And then A.J. Brown was unhappy, and so they've squeaky wheeled the hell out of him for the last 6 games. That wheel is the least squeakiest wheel in the history of the NFL. At 7,100, we have Devontae Smith. Very difficult to stack both of them. Devontae with 99 yards and a touchdown, missed the bonus by 1. He is the tournament play, as he is a high ceiling, low floor type play, as we've seen this year. His targets bouncing up and down. He is the downfield threat for this offense, as they've relied way more heavily on A.J. Brown than anywhere else. We saw Julio Jones sneak into the end zone. He is not really somebody that I wanted to target as a part of a stack. All the other receivers just kind of exist outside of the gravity of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in that offense. And Dallas Goedert, very solid target market share at a much more discounted price. I think it's going to be very difficult to go alpha on the Eagles with this situation. And I think most double stacks are going to include Goedert and one of the 2 pass catchers. Plenty of bring back opportunities on Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is the highest, most expensive one. Tony Pollard has to have a breakout game at some point. Will it happen against Philly? We don't know. The issue with Dallas and Tony Pollard could be the fact that they have been in a lot of unserious games so far this year. There have been 43-20, 42-10, 38-3, 28-16, 30-10, 40-0. They haven't been in games where they've really had to lean on Tony Pollard a whole lot, and it's kind of changed the way that his fantasy outlook has looked. Now, yeah, he's been inefficient on certain runs, but he hasn't had the amount of volume because most of their games have just scripted him out of them. This was not one that should do that unless Philadelphia absolutely tramples Dallas. I think he's possible to get in there. Obviously, you can fit two of these guys. There's going to be enough value on the slate at other places to fit them in. Cooks and Gallup down at 3,600, as well as Ferguson at 4K, I think are good value looks for a bring back situation for Dallas as well. Bryce Young is our second stack of the week, and that's because Indianapolis Colts games do tend to go nutty. That's just the way that things go when you're playing against him. He looked really good the last couple of weeks. He looks comfortable back there. He's making solid throws, making a lot more big time throws, way less turnover worthy throws. It hasn't really resulted in massive fantasy days, but that has done a good job for us at holding his price down at 5,100. The clear path towards targeting him would be to go with his highest targeted player, Adam Thielen, who has gotten double-digit targets in 4 of the last 5 weeks, 7 catches in the game where he didn't, averaging 21.5 fantasy points per game. Outside of him, DJ Chark, everybody else is kind of a dart throw. DJ Chark, Mingo with 5 targets. None of them are really doing a whole lot. And at tight end, Double H has done absolutely nothing. We've seen Tommy Tremble find his way into the end zone twice over the last 3 weeks. All of the tight ends are a full-on dart throw where you're just kind of hoping that they have a couple of catches and fall in there. Really, it's this, and then on the bring back play, you can go a lot of different routes with this one, whether it's going to be Pittman or Downs, who's been extremely good at 5,200. Or if you think that Jonathan Taylor is going to play a full complement, he's looked very good the last 2 weeks. Just they forgot that he was on their team in the whole third and half of the fourth quarter last week. After giving him 12 first half touches, he got 1 second half touch in spite of being on the field. So yeah, there's bring back plays that you could go with. Our next stack is going to be Lamar Jackson. Look, there's not a lot of value in this stack from a projection standpoint. You're going to look at this stack and you're going to look at the players in it, and I think a lot of people are going to say, well, they don't project very well, right? They're not great points per dollar performers, but that's exactly what makes them fantastic GPP plays, is paying up somewhere that's opposite or different from the Dallas Eagles game that everybody wants to stack, is going to allow you an opportunity to get different at a player who we know has ceiling possibilities. 37 points, 29 points, 32 points, 3 touchdown passes against Detroit, 2 touchdown passes against the vaunted Cleveland defense, 2 touchdown passes against Cincinnati, and obviously brings you that rushing upside and rushing touchdown upside as well. The thing that I like about Lamar Jackson as a stackable QB is that it's pretty predictable where his targets are going to go. We have not seen a ceiling game out of Zay Flowers. Odell Beckham Jr. not catching anything. It looks like he's kind of past it. Bateman and Aguilar, they're getting a couple of targets a game. So it's not really a situation where you want to bank on them. But at tight end, we have another position where we can pay up to be contrarian with Mark Andrews in a separator spot. A tight end is always going to be that position that's going to allow you to get different from everyone else. And then on Seattle, you know where you can go. Ken Walker, Metcalf, Lockett. Monitor this questionable non-participant at Wednesday's practice. Wednesday is not the important practice of the week, at least not in terms of my concern from a fantasy perspective. Thursday starts to kind of perk my ears a little bit if they miss Thursday, and Friday is the very important practice. If they miss Friday, they're probably not going to play on the weekend. If he does not go, obviously JSN gets massive boost. Anytime one of Metcalf or Lockett are out, he's kind of a risk with them in, but at least we know that he has the juice to be able to get loose for touchdowns, but he'll probably require one at 4,300. He's not as low price as he was before. Let's head over to Underdog Fantasy and kind of take a look at what we got over here for the weekend. If you have not made an account over at Underdog Fantasy yet, you should. Use code ALSMIZZLE, that's ALSMIZZLE, to gather your up to a $500 first time deposit bonus to the site. Might as well. It's free money. Why are you not picking it up? If there was like $100 or $500 sitting in front of you on the street, you'd pick it up, right? So like, go pick it up. Go to Underdog Fantasy, use my code. I'm going to bet on 3 hires on this video. Let's go with the 3 guys that we've talked about so far. Lamar Jackson over 274.5 pass plus rushing yards, 283 combined yards for Jalen Hurts, 228 passing yards for Bryce Young. Let's do this one for $100. Not $1,000, $100. 3 to win 6. Confirm. Could not detect your location. I swear to God, I live where I am, and I've always been in this position because this is my studio and it's not mobile. We'll get this one in a little bit later, but go check out everything that they have over at Underdog Fantasy today. Make sure you get your free money flying out there if you don't have an account. Sam Howell, he's my next stack. He's not the puke stack, okay? He's not. He's been all right. Look, if there's nothing else with Sam Howell, there's the fact that he has very good pass catchers. Curtis Samuel, McLaurin, Dotson, and at tight end, solid play as well. So like, he's somebody that we can go with, and he's going to stand in there and he's going to throw a lot of passes because that's just how they have to run offense. They're not exactly a super efficient team at running the football. They will try to establish it, and their defense has given up so much this year that like they're always in a passing situation. So like 52 attempts, 42 attempts. I know that attempts are not the thing for quarterbacks that lead to fantasy scoring. It's efficiency, but volume in DraftKings full PPR with bonuses system can also be that thing. Against Philly, they've played tough 2 times, 290 and 5 touchdowns total, and 397. So averaging about 350 and 2.5 touchdowns against them, 3 touchdowns against Atlanta, 2 against Chicago, had that ugly game against the Giants, and now faces off against New England. New England should be able to move the football against them. 1, because Washington's defense has allowed everyone to move the football against them, and then they move their 2 pass rushing edges out of town. So Mac Jones should be able to throw the football a little bit under a little bit less duress, let's say. Let's head over here to PFF and kind of take a look at this. Let's go to Washington Commanders from week 8. We'll look at their pass receiving numbers. McLaurin, Dotson, Logan Thomas, Gibson ran on 34 pass plays. Brian Robinson on 23. John Bates was out there a little bit. So like looking at the stacking options that we have with Sam Howell, McLaurin at 5,600. This is an amazing value stack. And it's going to leverage off of probably the most popular defense on the slate, which should be the 2 most played defenses this week as it looks on Thursday. This may change by the weekend. Are probably going to be the Giants at 2,300. And the Patriots at 2,900. Both sub 3K, both have the ability to rush the passer and are playing quarterbacks that tend to have turnover tendencies, let's say. 18 targets the last 2 games for Jahan Dotson, very solid. Curtis Samuel has done a fantastic job the last 2 years. 2 down weeks the last 2 weeks, but prior to that, 14, 18, and 18 for him. And Logan Thomas at tight end, if he does not play, he's questionable, limited on Thursday with a heel injury. If he does not play, that just clears the road for the Bates Motel at 2,500 if Thomas does not play. If Thomas plays, he is the preferred guy here. And then on the other side, we've got players that we can bring back with Stevenson, Demario Douglas, probably going to be the number 1 value player, the highest played value play on the slate. He's the easy value with everybody else in front of him at wide receiver injured right now with Bourne on IR and Parker dealing with a concussion. Maybe he gets cleared, maybe he doesn't. Juju Smith-Schuster also at 3,100. Plenty of players out there. We'll have to determine this after we find out what the situation with Devontae Parker's concussion is. I want to warn you, the puke stack is not safe for work. I'm sorry. I apologize. Here we go again. Chat is going nuts. Chat's not happy. Chat is not pleased at all. I feel so much. This slate sucks. Chat is not happy about this, but this is where we are. Daniel Jones has the ability to put up big tournament winning numbers. It's been the only time this season that he's done it was that second half against Arizona where he ran for a touchdown, threw for 321. Remember, they were getting throttled in the first half against Arizona in that game, and he's looked bad the rest of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the Las Vegas Raiders defense. Every other quarterback on this slate is terrible. Looking at where the ball went in week 8, Darius Slayton, this was such a bad game against the Jets. It's so bad. Saquon Barkley had 206 opportunities in this game. I think that you can open up Saquon Barkley in your Daniel Jones stacks, which will allow you to get different, as most people are going to go after Alvin Kamara in that price range. Wan'Dale Robinson is actually in play, which gives you a little bit of value. If you want to play with Wan'Dale, look at the wide receivers. There's no wide receiver above 3,500. It's so bad. This is the worst week. It's so ugly. Darren Waller at 4,400, probably going to miss this game. Probably going to miss the rest of the season. There's no way he comes back. He's done. So now we saw Bellinger run a whole lot of routes in this game, 21 of them. This is the 4 guys. This is who's running. This is it. Notice something else. They didn't even use Jedi in that game. It's just so ugly, which is why I'm saying using Saquon Barkley and his 41 opportunities wrapped around the Daniel Jones stack, Barkley getting enough usage in the passing game to warrant this, considering that he had 5 targets and like nobody else had anything. Saquon Barkley, they got him with 4. DraftKings has him with 5. Slayton with 2. Waller with 2. It's so bad. I think they're going to throw for more this week against the Raiders defense. Way different. Big escape from the Jets defense, right? It's a massive change. You look at what the Raiders have allowed so far this year. 264 passing yards per game, 222 on the ground. They give it up on the ground. They allow you to throw it through the air. The reason the rushing yards are so high is because they play from behind so goddamn often. I think that the Raiders are also going to be able to score a little bit on this Giants defense, which leads to this being kind of the preferred cheapest stack, pukest stack on the week, on a week with absolutely no value. Let's go over to Fantasy Labs and build some lineups with these ugly stacks this week. If you do not have an account and want a discounted subscription over at Fantasy Labs, use my link, smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. Here's the different things that I kind of put in here. You can erase all these. We don't need Indy and Chicago or the Chargers or this or that. We don't need that rule in there. We're going to pair our quarterback with 2 of their pass catchers, bring it back with a running back, wide receiver, or tight on the other team, pair the quarterback with no running backs, and limit to at most 1 running back, wide receiver, tight end from the opponent. Apply these settings, generate those lineups. Just realize that you're going to have to do more than just click the generate button and print money. This is going to be a very tough and ugly slate. A lot of low totaled games, a lot of backup quarterbacks, ugly situations. Try to make the best of it. I wish you the best of luck this weekend. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.